guys, in case you missed it, Bernie Sanders will not be flying commercial with us peasants. Prince Harry thinks that he might be killed without security, and also, I'm pregnant. So I have to give a shout out to the whole YouTube community because you guys sniffed out my announcement way before anyone else. I was watching the comments and laughing hysterically. I don't even remember when they started. It was like February, and they were like, something's up, something's off, we think that she's pregnant. Nobody else seemed to get it. Like, I would read the comments on X, I would see things on Instagram, I would lurk in my Reddit, as you guys know that I do. Nobody said anything, but all the YouTube commenters, you guys were astute. So yes, I am pregnant. I announced it at my first tour stop in Phoenix just a couple of days ago, which, by the way, guys, I had so much fun starting this tour. We did a show in Phoenix, we did a show in Irvine. It was so amazing to meet all of you guys. I had so much fun being on stage and laughing about the insanity of our world and talking through some of my favorite stories of the week. And obviously it just made it even more special that I was able to share this announcement with so many people in person. So I'm so grateful for those of you guys who were there and for those of you who will be at the shows in the future. If you've not bought tickets yet, by the way, you can do that at brettcooper.com. But Alex and I are so excited and we're so grateful for all of you guys and all of your congratulations and your excitement. This has been a super fun, big change in our life, and I'm grateful that we were able to keep it private for many months up until now and have that special time with our family and our friends. But now I'm excited to share it with all of you, especially because there was really no way I could hide it anymore because I officially popped. Anyway, but moving on from that, the other thing that we cannot hide anymore is Bernie Sanders' elitism. But before we get into that story, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to our channel if you have not already, and of course, ring that notification bell to stay up to date on all of our episodes. And if you want ad-free episodes and a Dear Brett video where I answer your questions and your concerns and a subscriber-only newsletter just for you guys, make sure to check out Cooper Confidential. You can find a link for that in the description below. It is also linked on my website, brettcooper.com. So back to the story. I don't think this is a surprise to anyone here today, but Bernie Sanders is an elitist. He was found contradicting himself once again. So he is doing this Fight the Oligarchy tour with AOC. They're touring around, they're like selling out arenas, and I've been watching all of this happening, and I've also been watching the right basically make fun of AOC and making fun of Bernie Sanders and saying they never have a chance. Okay, well, you should see the crowds they're pulling. People are very, very interested, but the thing that I'm interested in is what is going on behind the scenes. And it was sniffed out that Bernie Sanders was spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on private jets. And yes, you heard that correctly. This is the man that champions the Green New Deal, who says that we are all ruining the climate, that we need to stop having children because the earth is burning. And he is flying around the United States to fight the oligarchy in private jets. And obviously he was called out on social media, but he recently did an interview with Bret Baier from Fox News, and Bret brought that up. You need to listen to this exchange because it is just so perfect. It is rules for thee, not for me, once again.
Free Beacon says Bernie Sanders spent $221,000 on private jets fighting the oligarchy tour, paid for by friends of Bernie Sanders.
Also, by the way, 75% of his campaign's total went to private jets, which is just insane.
How do you push back on both of those things?
When's the last time you saw Donald Trump during a campaign mode at National Airport?
No, it doesn't. But he's also not fighting the oligarchy.
No. You run a campaign and you do 3 or 4 or 5 rallies in a week. The only way you can get around to talk to 30,000 people. Think I'm going to be sitting on a waiting line at United, waiting?
The audacity, the gall that we might see Bernie Sanders standing in a line waiting for a United flight. Okay, guys, I have to have like a moment of honesty with you guys because I first listened to this clip and I didn't completely understand what he said. I thought that he said that he was trying to do 3 to 5 events in a day. And I listened to that and I was like, okay, I mean, yeah, that's pretty accurate. I don't know how you're going to do that if you're on a commercial flight. And then Alex watched the video and he was like, Brett, you completely missed it. Maybe it's pregnancy brain because my brain is literally shrinking. But he was like, you missed the entire point. He's saying he's trying to get to 3 to 5 events in a week. I'm sorry, you can do that on a commercial flight. I just did 2 shows. I was in 3 different cities over the last, 72 hours. I was in Group 9 on American Airlines in basic economy, and I made it to every single show and every single stop. So Bernie Sanders, I think that we would love to see you in a commercial flight. I think we would love to see you standing in line with the people of America that you allegedly are wanting to represent. You're helping us fight the oligarchy, so you should actually stand in line with us as we do. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. But guys, this is also nothing new for him. As Bret Baier said in this interview, he was like, you have historically flown on a lot of private jets, which is really true. He spent $2 million on private jets in his 2020 presidential campaign, which is ironic because in 2019, he literally launched that presidential campaign by talking about climate change. He said that was one of his number one things he was going to be addressing, that fossil fuels and climate change were the biggest threat to our world. And then he finished that little speech and he hopped onto his private jet to go to his next thing. And guys, this got so bad and he was so torched by the media for this blatant hypocrisy that he was even called out by ex-Clinton staffers who revealed that when he was campaigning for Hillary in 2016, he had requested private charters, which they weren't paying for other people, but he and his team had demanded that if he was going to campaign for Hillary, that he would be flown around on private jets. And this quote is just amazing. This is from Politico. Quote, I'm not shocked that while thousands of volunteers braved the heat and the cold to knock on doors until their fingers bled in a desperate attempt to stop Donald Trump, His Royal Majesty King Bernie Sanders would only deign to leave his plush DC office or his brand new second home on the lake if he was flown around on a cushy private jet like a billionaire master of the universe. And that was said by the director of rapid response for the Clinton campaign. They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars flying him around per his request, only for her to lose. Well, guys, we really should have some empathy here because he's an older man. He has a hard schedule. According to his team at the time, this was because he had to be in 13 states in 3 months. Literally, that is what they said. He had to go to 13 states in 3 months, and because of that, the grueling schedule, which if you do the math, you have like 6 days in between all of those stops, just on an average, obviously he could not be flying commercial for that. I mean, how grueling must it be to be Bernie Sanders? Probably almost as grueling as it is to be white. Because apparently, racial identity politics are back in vogue in 2025, and we all need to be apologizing for being white. Now, I'm saying that racial identity politics are back in vogue because I feel like we had a little break from everything. Like, I don't know how you guys felt, but in November of last year, after the election, it felt like the entire country just like took a big sigh of relief. Like everybody was coming together. It felt really unified. The Maha groups had come together with MAGA. Everybody was happy. People had like dipped their toe over to like vote for Trump. Everything was great. We were so excited. And I think everybody was just too happy. And so now, 6 months later, they're just trying to sow division yet again. And on that note, we need to talk about Paige Becker. So if you guys follow women's basketball at all, you probably know who she is. She was the 2025 women's basketball champion. She is incredibly talented, very well known, and she just signed a new deal with the WNBA team, the Dallas Wings. And the moral of the story is, she is an extraordinary athlete. She is incredible. She does not need to stand on anybody else to have her own success. Like, she is incredible. She deserves all of the press, the endorsements, and the fame that comes with all of that talent. And yet, last week, when she sat down with Time Magazine to discuss this new deal with the Dallas Wings, she felt that she needed to make her success about someone else. Just take a listen to this quote. She said, quote, "There is white privilege every single day that I see. I feel like I've worked extremely hard, blessed by God, but I do think there's more opportunities for me." So she has to offer this caveat. If she celebrates herself, if she says, yes, I'm really proud of myself, there always has to be this caveat of, oh yes, but somebody else deserves it more. She goes on and she says, I feel like even just marketability, people tend to favor white people, white males, white women. I think it should be equal opportunity. I feel like there is privilege to what I have and to what all white people have. I recognize that, and I want to counteract that with the way that I go about my business. Guys, it feels like we're back in 2020 again. What is this? You can just say, I'm so grateful for what I have, and I'm proud of my accomplishments, and I love working with these brands, and I love playing with all of these incredible women. You could have just said that, and that would have been totally fine and acceptable. You do not need to bend a knee and bend over backwards to appease this mysterious mob that has suddenly popped back up in light of her new contract in this interview. Her acceptance speech from 2021, when she won the Best Female College Athlete, has also been going viral. And this is what she said in that speech.
With the light that I have now, as a white woman who leads a Black-led sport and celebrated here, I want to show a light on Black women. They don't get the media coverage that they deserve.
There you go, you get the applause. 2021. I mean, guys, at this point, it feels like this is a requirement or a rite of passage in the WNBA. I mean, we just went through this with Caitlin Clark, where she was doing this amazing interview. She's an incredible, incredible talent. We don't have to think about race. We can all just celebrate her because she genuinely is amazing and seems like an amazing person. And she did this interview and she was like, oh yeah, well, we have to celebrate the Black women because, you know, they don't get as many accolades. Okay, what? Like, genuinely, what are you saying? You can just celebrate yourself and be proud of yourself. It doesn't need to be about race every single single day. But anyway, back to Paige. I do give her a lot more grace for the pandering in 2021 because the world was an insane place at that point and nobody really knew what was going on and that was just the thing that you said. But it's 2025 now. We've moved on. They're trying to bring this back into vogue. We've realized how ridiculous this is. You are incredibly accomplished. You don't need to diminish your success to make anyone else feel good. I mean, come on, basketball is a majority black sport. The WNBA is made up of 70% black women. You are actually the minority. She ironically made this comment in this Time interview as the whole Met Gala was happening and the theme was centered around black style. The biggest fashion event of the entire year was all about racial identities. And while that's totally fine and black style should be celebrated because they have made incredible contributions to the world of art and fashion and creativity, the entire event just became about politics. Because of course it would in our political climate. Meanwhile, we also have 12-foot statues of black women being erected in the middle of Times Square. Just take a look at this.
And communicate those inner worlds that we have.
No coverage, guys. None.
With one another. To try
no
and
representation.
Understanding and basically encourage empathy.
So we're encouraging empathy by putting a 12-foot statue of an overweight black woman in the middle of Times Square. Guys, that is the pinnacle of art. And yet we are still saying that there's a lack of coverage. There's no representation. They are not listened to. They are not heard. I mean, it's it's so ridiculous. We are genuinely creating more problems in our society by amplifying these ideas. Genuinely. And guys, the difference in media coverage over this ridiculous statue has just been hilarious. As you can see with Ground News, left-leaning coverage foregrounds the statue as a powerful symbol of black female empowerment and systemic bias, using emotive language like big mad and highlighting internet hate to underscore social justice themes. And that is apparently what they're highlighting through the statue, which thanks to Ground News, we are all aware of. And Ground News always cuts through the noise with an unbiased perspective and shows both sides of every story, prioritizing honesty over everything. Their unique technology even allows users to compare how different sides of the corporate media are reporting on a story, making sure that you see all sides and truly stay informed, even on issues like this. And from my perspective, they make sure that I stay on top of the stories that I'm covering for you guys so that I can bring you the latest and most honest updates. And in addition to that, Ground News' blind spot feed brings you the stories that have gotten little to no coverage, making sure that you always stay informed instead of letting big tech or their algorithms decide what you see, which happens more than you would expect. So if you're ready to truly break free from media bias and stay informed with transparent news consumption on every issue, now is the time to join Ground News. And when you go to groundnews.com/Brett or scan the QR code on the screen, you can get the same premium plan that I use every single day, but for nearly half the price. Again, guys, that is groundnews.com/Brett if you want to get unbiased news and hold the media accountable for only $5 a month. But guys, the story of this statue doesn't just stop there, because according to the Times Square website, this statue that we all just saw is actually a nod to Michelangelo's The David. They say that the statue is a fictionalized character constructed from images, observations, and open calls spanning between Los Angeles and London. The young woman depicted and grounded in the stars carries familiar qualities from her stance and countenance to her everyday clothing. In her depiction, one recognizes a shared humanity. Yet the contrapposto pose of her body and the ease of her stance is a subtle nod to Michelangelo's David. We're what? This is absurd. I mean, this is so ridiculous, and that is such an insane comparison because the David was supposed to be something that is aspirational. I mean, you look at that statue and it is this man who is elegant, he is ripped, he is athletic. And then you have this statue, which they're saying is a representation of the average black woman. It's is it supposed to be aspirational? Is that what we should be aspiring to? It's just a question that I have. And one person on Twitter put it well when he said, "Public art and architecture matter. They represent and communicate a society's ideology and values. Their effects on the population are real. This represents a very sick society." And of course, you can take this tweet to mean a million different things, but just look at the comparison between the two statues and what we are supposed to idolize and aspire to. One obviously looks healthy. It actually looks aspirational. And the other represents our mediocre society, where everybody is fat and sick and victimhood reigns supreme. And the only reason the statue exists is because an entire population is screaming and crying about the fact that they aren't represented enough, which obviously they are, because hello, look at all of these other statues. There are literally statues just like this in Florence and in Rotterdam, many other cities around the world. So I'm sorry if people are tired of hearing that Black Americans are not represented or not covered heard or heard. And I'm sorry if we don't believe freaking Michelle Obama when she lies and says that Black women aren't given permission to talk about or articulate their pain. And yes, that is literally something that she recently said on her podcast.
We don't articulate as Black women our pain because it's almost like nobody ever gave us permission to do that.
And does anyone care?
Yeah, there's
Will
that.
they care?
Did we live through the same 2020? Did we live through the same 2021? The riots, the protests in the streets? Are we not seeing the same statues? I think people care. I think they cared a lot, and now people are very, very tired, so maybe now they don't care as much because they're fed up. Like, this is just ridiculous. And I think that basically everyone articulated, and we all heard, we all listened, and the entire world bent the knee. Like, I happen to remember a time when a jury awarded a Black woman $11 million because she alleged that she was fired for being Black, when in all actuality, she was actually fired because she was late to work 47 times in the span of a year. And yet, in 2023, she was awarded $11 million. So I'm sorry, you are awarded millions. You have statues built in your honor. Paige, your league is made up of mostly Black women, which does not take away from your individual talent and success, and you should not think that it has to. And the majority of Americans are just tired, and they're fed up. And it's not because they're racist, it's just because they don't want to have to think about race 24/7. It's because they don't want to feel this division that you are very obviously sowing so that you can feel better about yourself, so that you can get the attention that you crave and you deserve. Speaking of Black women who do a great job of articulating their pain, we also need to talk about Meghan Markle, but more specifically, we need to talk about Prince Harry. Now, I have spent a lot of time talking about Meghan Markle, giving her the coverage that she probably wants as a Black woman, but I think now we need to focus on Prince Harry because now it is him that is in the news in his own PR firestorm. So last week, Prince Harry went on BBC to do his first long-form sit-down interview in, I think, probably over a year at this point. And he did this interview with the BBC because he just lost a 4-year-long lawsuit battle that he was fighting against his own family and the UK government. And guys, I am like hitting myself because I had no idea that this lawsuit was actually happening, and it is rich. So obviously we all remember they left the royal family. They accused the royal family of racism, of not supporting Meghan Markle and her mental health journey. They accused them of doing all these things that they did to Princess Diana, and they left. And they came to bug all of us in America. If you guys watch their documentary, Prince Harry was literally filming videos of himself on a private jet being like, this is our freedom flight from the UK to America. It was so freaking dramatic. He wrote an entire book about how much he hated being part of the royal family, and yet he has literally been suing his family for the last 4 years to regain royal status so that he can have taxpayer-funded full-time security. And guess what? As of last week, he has officially lost because karma is real. Because his family and a judge decided that after all of these accusations, after all the hijinks, that they didn't really want to pay for Harry and Meghan to have full-time security. And you all should know that Harry is absolutely devastated by this and has no idea why they wouldn't have ruled in his favor. But the best part of this entire interview was the fact that after 4 years of completely pooping on his family and alleging all of that stuff, he said that now that he's been fully ostracized, he would love to reconcile with them. Just take a listen.
I would love reconciliation with my family. There's no point in continuing to fight anymore. As I said, life is precious.
Okay, Harry, so now life is precious. Now that you have lost your lawsuit, there's no point in fighting anymore. There's no point in fighting because a judge said that your case was ridiculous. They did their whole freedom flight to America. They tried to build a multimedia empire. They wrote books. They've done podcasts. They have done Netflix series. None of it has worked. Everybody is unhappy with them. Everybody has seen through their facade. And now that they can't get their taxpayer-funded security from the UK and their family has finally put their foot down and said, no, we want no part of this, now, oh, reconciliation sounds so delightful. I would love that life is short and it's precious. No, why weren't you saying that 4 years ago? Literally, it is so laughable. Now, also, according to this interview and what he said, his dad, the King of England, will not talk to him. And he's like, why won't he talk to me? I'm sorry, I don't know much about the world, but I do know that when you are suing somebody, you probably won't get a phone call from that person. Like, if I am being sued, the last thing that I will think of is, let me call that person and have a nice little, Saturday chit-chat. So no, I am not surprised that the king has not picked up the phone to try to reconcile with his son, who is actively shaming their entire family and suing them. So I think what we can all understand from this is that Harry and Meghan have lost. They have tried everything and they have failed and nobody likes them and people have seen through their inauthenticity and the lies that they have spewed about the royal family. I mean, guys, remember the Oprah video where Meghan talked about how racist the royal family was, and then Harry wrote his memoir Spare, and none of that was in there. And then in an interview when he was promoting the book, somebody brought that up and said, why didn't you write about this crazy racism that made you leave the royal family? And he literally said, that was a media invention. I mean, it's baloney. It is so ridiculous. Everybody sees through it, so now they're trying to run back home to the UK with their tail between their legs, and their family is not having it because the royal family still has a semblance of self-respect, which I, in turn, also respect. But it doesn't matter, because Harry and Meghan, they are going to keep on trying. There is no low that they will not stoop to, including insinuating that the same thing that happened to his mother, Princess Diana, might happen to him and his wife. Just take a listen.
I don't want history to repeat itself. I think there's a lot of other people out there, the majority, that also don't want history to repeat itself. Through the disclosure process, I've discovered that some people want history to repeat itself, which is pretty dark.
And that is why, among a myriad of other reasons, why they need this taxpayer-funded security. No matter where they are in the entire world, they need this special royal status so that they don't have to pay for their own security, because somebody out there wants to do to Meghan Markle what they did to Princess Diana. And guys, this is even more hypocritical when you get down to it, because Prince Harry, you do know who did it. I mean, you are literally interviewing with the same company that you, just a few years ago, blamed for your parents' divorce and your mother's death. Just read this headline. Prince William and Harry say the BBC interview led to Princess Diana's divorce and death, because in 2021, an investigation found that the reporter who interviewed Diana in 1995 falsified documents that led her to be paranoid about the royal family spying on her. And yet, here you sit, 30 years later, doing an interview with this same publication saying, oh no, they're going to do this, we must need it. What are you doing? I mean, again, everyone can see that it is a facade. Like, you should have spent less time trying to convince the media and a judge that you deserve security and you deserve to be back in the public's good graces, and you should have spent more time trying to convince your wife to shut up and be normal. To maybe just, like, take a step back. Like, maybe if people didn't hate you so much, you wouldn't need the security, or think that you need the security. Like, that's just a crazy idea on my part. Now, guys, I know that I've had a lot to say on this, but the story does not end there, because as I was writing this episode and compiling all of this stuff from over the weekend, photos of Prince Harry wandering around the UK alone, knocking on random front doors, started popping up all over Twitter. Just take a look at this. This is from The Sun. They're the ones who broke this story. Look at him. This is from a Ring doorbell. He's wandering around, ding dong, looking for a friend by himself in the UK. And I just have to say, I obviously have feelings about Prince Harry, but the man, the poor man, he looks tired. Maybe some new skincare could do him good. Maybe he and Meghan should invest in Nimmi. And guys, I am so excited to be partnering with Nimmi Skincare again. If you have been watching me since the beginning, you know that I promoted them a long time ago. They were one of my first ever sponsors, and it has been amazing to watch their mission and their company grow. Now, since we worked together last, they have launched a brand new, clean line of high-powered products made with ingredients that you can trust and feel great about. This is a huge transition for them, and also just last month they started to introduce the beginnings of their body care collection. I started using Nimmi again after getting pregnant this year because my hormones obviously have been going crazy. I was really struggling to keep my skin under control. I had things popping up out of the wazoo, and I decided that I should start washing my face with something more than just water because things were getting harder again, and they totally changed the game for me, and they got my skin back on track literally within days. It has been amazing. And as you know, Nimmi Skincare is more than just skincare. Their company represents amazing values we can all stand behind, and their products are proudly made in the USA. And because of that, they are not forced to increase their prices when tariffs and costs rise, so you can always trust that you are getting great value. So if you're ready to make the switch, take Nimmi's simple skincare quiz on their website, and you can get a skincare routine curated just for your skin type and all of your concerns and needs. So head over today to nimmiskincare.com, that is Nimmi, N-I-M-I, skincare.com, and use code Cooper for 15% off your order. Your skin and your wallet will thank you. And to have your wallet thank you even more, I would urge you to check out American Financing. Because with everything happening with the economy right now, it does feel like we're kind of stuck on shaky ground as Trump is making his deals and trying to get things more affordable. But right now, during this transition period, it is no wonder that many are relying on credit cards to cover the gaps. And credit card debt is skyrocketing in our country, and it is leaving a lot of people stressed out and concerned about their finances. But if you're a homeowner, you don't have to face this uncertainty alone. My friends over at American Financing can help you take control of your finances once again. They can help you access the the equity that you have in your home to help you pay down that high interest credit card debt, which will give you peace of mind and real life savings. On average, people who work with American Financing, just like you, are saving $800 a month, and they can help you start saving in as little as 10 days. So do not let the chaos of the economy get the best of you. Call American Financing today. It truly costs you nothing to get started, and you may delay 2 mortgage payments, giving you a cushion in this uncertain time. Go to americanfinancing.net/Brett, or you can call 800-852-2010. Again, that is 800-852-2010 to get started. But back to the story and back to Prince Harry's sad, pitiful self. He apparently, according to The Sun, knocked on at least 2 doors trying to find a friend of his. I mean, like, again, guys, it's so perfect. Like, what are you doing? You just finished suing your family, saying that you could not go to the UK safely. He literally said in that BBC interview, he was like, I will never be able to take my wife and children to the UK. They might be killed. We cannot go back to the UK. He's literally walking around the UK by himself in a neighborhood, knocking on random doors. Now, we have no idea what Prince Harry was actually doing, and it's hilarious that this doorbell footage actually got out there. People online are speculating that maybe it was a special type of friend that he was meeting, maybe a drug dealer, maybe some kind of affair. Obviously, that is not confirmed. People are like, why is this man just like wandering aimlessly around a neighborhood in England? But also, that's not the only kind of weird thing that he's been doing lately. In addition to knocking on random doors, he's also been ordering takeout to a friend's house, which, I'm sorry, I'm no expert, but if you are somebody who is very scared about your security, if you are literally going through an entire lawsuit to get police protection everywhere you go, I feel like you're probably not ordering food and takeout to a house with your name on it. That just seems a little counterintuitive. It seems like that's a security risk that he would be avoiding if he actually felt like his life was at risk. I mean, guys, it is just PR hit after PR hit for these people, and it's just so crazy because we all used to love Prince Harry when he was an eligible bachelor in the military, and he was so cute and handsome and twinkly and sparkly, and he was the happy prince having a great time. Like, let's go back to this, Harry. Like, why don't you guys just stop talking for like 2 years? Just actually focus on reconciliation outside of the press. Stop the interviews, stop the podcast, stop the Netflix show and the sprinkling of flour sprinkles on Meghan's scrambled eggs. And then maybe, just maybe, you'll get back into everyone's good graces, and maybe then your father would finally answer one of your phone calls. But at the very least, Harry, just have some consistency, because what you are saying online, what you are alleging in lawsuits, does not match what you're actually doing in your real life. So obviously, no one is taking you serious. Like, you are about as morally consistent as Disney is, because we have an insane story involving Disney today. Guys, just a few days ago, Disney announced that they are officially opening a theme park in Abu Dhabi, in the UAE. This is their first resort in the Middle East. You might be wondering, like, okay, Disney does things all the time. Like, why is this making headlines? Well, it's making headlines and everybody is laughing about it because the UAE is in the top 20 most dangerous countries for LGBTQ people, according to UC Berkeley. Homosexuality is literally illegal in the UAE. Now, according to the federal law, quote, sodomy with a male shall be punishable by death. And Disney is saying, boom! Who cares? We're just turning a blind eye to this. We are going to open our first theme park in the Middle East, even though this is the same company that shoves their progressive values and their not-so-secret gay agenda down our throats on a daily basis and then points the finger at us and says that we are the backwards bigots when we disagree with it. This is the same Disney that literally removed gendered language from their theme parks because they wanted to be more inclusive to non-binary people. It's the same Disney that was literally up in arms over the phony Florida Don't Say Gay bill. That same company is now in bed with one of the least gay-friendly countries in the entire world. And why? Well, obviously, it's because of money. Because money rules everything. Like, literally, that is what they said in their press release. They said, the UAE is located within a 4-hour flight of 1/3 of the world's population, making it a significant gateway for tourism, aka money. The UAE is home to the largest global airline hub in the world, with 120 passengers traveling through Abu Dhabi and Dubai each year. Now, in that same press release, Bob Iger, who is the CEO of Disney, said, quote, this is a thrilling moment for our company as we announce plans to build an exciting Disney theme park resort in Abu Dhabi, whose culture is rich with an appreciation of the arts and creativity. That's just so amazing, Bob Iger, that is what you are prioritizing. Now, this is the same Bob Iger who had this to say about Florida's Don't Say Gay bill. He tweeted this a couple of years ago, I'm with the president on this. If passed, this bill will put vulnerable young LGBTQ people in jeopardy. Now, if you guys remember this bill, it literally did not have the word gay in it at all. They were saying that this meant that nobody could talk about gayness, that nobody could even say the word gay in Florida schools anymore, when in all actuality, the bill was just saying, I think it was for kindergartners to 3rd graders, that you could not talk about sexual orientation and sexual identity and could not teach that to them. Like kindergarten through third grade. I think that was all it was. That was the entire point of the bill, and the entire woke mob decided that this was eliminating gay people throughout the entire country. And Disney got on board with that. They literally went to war with DeSantis in Florida over a bill that only banned instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity for elementary schools. And they even went so far as vowing to help repeal the law. They said, quote, Florida's HB 1557 bill, also known as the Don't Say Gay bill, should have never passed and should have never been signed into law. Our goal as a company is for this law to be repealed by the legislature or struck down in the courts, and we remain committed to supporting the national and state organizations working to achieve that. Again, this is the company that is opening a resort in Abu Dhabi. We are dedicated to standing up for the rights and safety of LGBTQ plus members of the Disney family, as well as the LGBTQ plus community in Florida and across the country, just not in the UAE. No, it just ends with our American border. Now, at the time, Bob Iger also said, quote, this company has been telling stories for 100 years, and those stories have had a meaningful, positive impact on the world. And one of the reasons why they've had a meaningful, positive impact is because one of our core values of that storytelling is inclusion and acceptance and tolerance, and we can't lose that. Oh, that's wonderful. Bob, are you going to be losing that in the UAE? Like, are you changing anything when you open this new resort? Like, but here's the thing, guys. If you've been paying attention to Disney over the last 5 years, none of this should be a surprise. Like, we know that they play these games. We already know that Disney censors and edits their projects in more restrictive countries. Just take a look at these headlines. This is from 2022. Disney censors same-sex affection in Pixar films according to letter from employees. They were not censoring it in America. They were censoring it everywhere else. Lucky for us, here's another headline. Disney is branded hypocritical for opposing Florida's Don't Say Gay bill as it emerges that the movie giant cut LGBTQ plus content from its movies to please homophobic censors in Russia and in the Middle East. I mean, guys, this has been happening for years now. They're completely driven by money. That's always been what it's about. And it's ridiculously hypocritical, but unfortunately it's to be expected at this point. And this is what we've been trying to tell the left for ages. Like, they are playing you. They are preying on your emotions because you make them money. With all of your outrage and your protests and your pride festivals and the crying online, you're not actually fighting the man. They're playing you. You fall for it every single time. And so if it took Disney opening a theme park in the UAE for you to finally realize that they actually didn't care about social issues, but that they really just care about money, so I guess then there you have it. So guys, I think I need to take a deep breath today because I've been very animated because I cared a lot about all of these stories and they're all kind of hot button issues, but I feel like we learned a lot today. We learned that Bernie Sanders is not actually destroying the oligarchy, he is becoming it. Prince Harry desperately wants attention and actually doesn't need security at all, and Disney does not care about the gays. I'll see you guys Thursday.
You guys should know that the special guest is already on stage.